welcome to another episode of the Minorities Report podcast. My name is Antonio Alcazar.
And I'm the Spaniard known as Taknar.
You know what? You are the fucking Spaniard, bro.
I am the Spaniard. Between the two of us in this room, I'm the most closely related to Spanish people.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You do have direct Spanish ascendancy.
Boom.
This week we did Highlander.
1986 classic hit, sword fighting, dueling. There can only be one Highlander.
I want to apologize for everybody for not having this one up on time. There was a lot of issues. My window got smashed in randomly.
Whoever...
Somebody must have heard our podcast.
Yep.
Heard me review Big Trouble in Little China,
Conan, or Predator, or plenty of other bad movies
that all the movies that I haven't liked.
Had. Halloween.
And they were like, fuck this dude.
You're going to pay for this multiple punch with police gloves to your...
But we're here now, and we're here talking about Highlander.
We're talking about Highlander.
Take us through Highlander, man.
I'm going to break it down for you. Here we go.
Let's get into it. I want to get into this one.
Sean Connery hits us with what you love the most when it comes to movies. Some dope-ass world building.
So remind me, how does the world building go in this?
He just brings up like the fact that there's been this like quickening thing in the Highlander. Not the Highlanders. The Immortals have fought for many years.
One of the things that I found out about this movie while watching it was that the Highlander isn't the title of the Immortals.
Correct.
The Immortals are just Immortals.
Correct.
The Highlander is called the Highlander because he's from the Highlands of fucking Scotland or whatever.
Nailed it.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah, pretty clever.
I mean, I never knew.
Of course.
I always thought the Highlander was like the title of the Immortals, you know?
That's what
like there could only be one Highlander is what I thought it was.
Right.
But
of course.
That's not the case.
So, hits us up with some world building, and then from the world building, we jump into, some Queen wrote this badass. They
wrote it for the movie?
They were originally going to do a single song for the movie. This one, Princess of the Universe. Mm-hmm. And then they were just like, fuck it, let's do the entire soundtrack. So they do the entire soundtrack. Here we are! Yeah. Born to be kings! We're the princes of the universe!
I may spare you all that and edit it out. Jesus Christ. Your enthusiasm for this very not great song.
That music hits, and I'm like, here I am.
You were running around your room. You had face paint on, dude. There's no way you didn't. You had a leotard on. I don't know why I imagine you as like one of the wrestlers at the beginning of the movie.
The Fabulous Freebirds.
Yeah, is that who they were?
Yeah. Right. That was one of the, I don't know the other group, but I know the Fabulous Freebirds. Yeah, we start off with some beautiful wrestling, some Freebirds flashbacks.
And then there's the guy who did, what's the Highlander's name? I forget his name.
Connor.
Connor, okay. Oh, Connor?
Just Connor.
Connor, okay. Connor's watching this fucking wrestling match.
Yes.
And did he go with the dude who's like, are you paying attention? Like, did he go with him?
No.
No, right? He was just happened to be sitting next to him?
That's just another guy, yeah.
And then that guy was screaming in his face.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yo, what's happening on the stage does not merit this excitement.
No.
You know, that guy was like into it.
That's 1980s wrestling, though, bro.
Was it?
1980s wrestling was out of control because there were still, like, way too many people who thought wrestling was real in the 80s.
There was an expectation of truth there?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So people were just dumber back then?
Yes, pretty much. Yeah, absolutely. So, and it wasn't like...
I like to color the past with, like, a big, broad brush of stupid.
Yeah.
And so...
you're a bigot. No, I know. So,
yeah,
anyways,
I'm an ageist.
Yeah,
if you're above a certain age demographic...
No, I'm going with bigot.
Oh, hey, me too. Just... let's be specific.
Right.
When it comes to age.
It's more than just age.
If you're a boomer, you're probably dumb.
You've got a lot of preconceived notions, and age is
older
one
people.
of them.
Yeah.
So anyways, we get to, he leaves that place, man. He steps on a Coke can, and he's about that business, bro. He just steps on this Coke can. It's pretty funny. So then... Yes, I don't even know why they fucking focus on that. It's one of the things that I.
It was for the product placement.
Yeah,
they were just like, oh, we gotta have a Coke can. In here.
Yeah, but it's weird that you'd be stepping on it for product placement or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
And then Asamine or whatever fucking shows up, and he's like,
his name is Azamine.
Yeah, I believe
they never said his name. Did
they? They definitely do. It's Izamine or something like. It's something in that area.
I feel like somebody just made a noise with their mouth, and I was just like, that's just a noise. Turns out it was a name.
Yep, turns out it was a name. First sword fight, bro. and they get into it, man, in some 1980s style sword fighting. And
really,
they're going.
So this sword fight was choreographed by a person who had never choreographed anything.
Or
it was super scatterbrained.
Yes.
The angles kept switching.
Yeah.
So I never knew what direction people were in.
Right.
And then there'd be like fighting, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the next shot, they're not fighting anymore.
Yeah.
And like one dude is behind a car.
Yeah.
You didn't see how they got
Right.
there. They're just suddenly in a different spot.
Not only did this person not know fighting choreography, they didn't really know swords either. Like, so I mean, like,
fair, yeah.
but they're like, we'll take a shot at it.
We're just gonna do this.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
exactly.
sure.
So there's a scene where
the editor was rewatching this as he was editing and was like, yeah, we may as well just do this.
let's just do this, right? So Connor is like going back and forth. He's kind of hiding underneath cars and shit like that.
Not any better than him. Not any obviously better than him.
No.
He's just, they're kind of on par.
Yeah. Isamine doing his thing and shit like that. Eventually loses his sword and then starts doing backflips.
Yes.
And egregious.
The backflips, yeah. I laughed out loud. The backflips, I laughed out loud.
It's like 20 backflips all the way to the end of the fucking...
Like, and by the way, only time this man is anything even remotely acrobatic. Mostly he's just kind of standing around. So the fact that at some point he was just like, backflip time. I was like, oh, God.
But the problem is these backflips clearly drained all of his power because he pretty much loses right after this.
Yeah, and almost immediately after.
Yes, and I'm sorry, did I call him Connor?
Yeah.
Duncan.
Duncan?
Yeah, Duncan McLeod. No, wait, no, it is
McLeod.
Connor. His last name is McLeod.
Yeah.
But it's Connor McLeod. Connor McLeod is, okay, so
His name is McLeod. That's what I was trying to remember.
There's a
McLeod.
TV show that came later that was Duncan. And it was his, like, descendant. And this is Connor. Yeah.
Okay.
So, he wins, cuts off his head, and we get to see our first quickening.
The quickening.
And the lightning starts striking. All the cars start honking.
Yep,
And dude, the cars are like happy as fuck, right?
The headlights burst.
Yes, it's out of control.
Yeah. So I don't get what's happening here with the quickening.
Sure.
Is it like do the immortals get stronger every time an immortal dies?
You literally know exactly what the quickening is.
Oh, that's
exactly what it is.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay.
They all get stronger whenever one of them dies.
All right.
That's why they're trying to fight to only be one left, because he will have the strength of all the immortals, and he'll be able to do whatever he wants, basically. And rule the world.
Kind of, not really.
I mean, that's what they say.
Yeah, but that's not what happens in the end.
Well, that's because a good person wins.
That doesn't make any sense. I think who was the bad guy? What's his name?
The Kurgan.
Yeah, the Kurgan would have been pretty pissed.
The Kurgan,
if he would have won, he would have been like, wait, I get what? I fought all this time for what?
Everything, bro.
No, for nothing.
It's everything. We'll get there.
Zero.
So, we get some history on Clancy Brown as the Kurgan. Man, Clancy Brown, dude.
He's the Kurgan?
Yeah. He's so legit.
He's been in a lot of stuff. Right?
Yeah.
I recognized
Everything.
I recognized his dumbass face, but like, what was he in?
Here's the thing, dude. He great actor, man. He's a great actor. Great voice, more importantly, though.
Okay. He wasn't great in this, though, right? Or was he?
I mean, it's all dependent on how you feel about it.
Did you feel like he was great in this?
I feel he's great in everything, but
Okay,
that's just me. Yeah. He is in. Well, he was in Thor Ragnarok.
He was in Thor Ragnarok? What was he in Thor Ragnarok? Was he the big devil guy?
Oh, yes, he was the devil guy in Thor Ragnarok. Yeah. Of course. Because his voice is what it makes him so popular, of course, sure, right? Yeah. He was in Pet Sematary 2, which obviously you've never seen.
Never in my life.
Starship Troopers.
Yep, he was in Starship Troopers. He was the sergeant.
Yep. John Wick Chapter 4. That's a new one, so no. He was in the original Pet Sematary. I forgot about that. Cowboys vs. Aliens. You ever seen that?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, he was in that. Invincible. I don't even know what that is. That's a TV show. Oh. He was in Green Lantern. A Nightmare on Elm Street. I remember he was one of the parents in there. He was in Warcraft. You probably never saw that. He was Black Hand in Warcraft.
I did want to see Warcraft, but I just never got around to it. And then I heard it got terrible reviews, and I was like, man, I'll skip it then.
Interesting. He's been in a bunch of DC shit, like cartoon shows. He's done tons of cartoons because of his voice. His voice is so unique and strong. So that's the thing, is where he's going to get the most work is it from using his Awesome voice, man. He's legit.
Yeah.
And he's like a chaos warrior in this fucking movie. And it's just, from the steps of the Russian fucking whatever the fuck. So.
Yeah. His lore was that he's been around for thousands of years, too.
Yeah, he's already old as fuck. Yeah. And he's not. His name isn't Kurgan. He was a Kurgan of the Kurgans, basically. And he's the last one that's left. So that's the people that he came from. So they're fighting. They got some Scotland fighting going on. And Connor's like, come on and fight me. And nobody will fight him, of course.
Yeah. But that's because the Kurgan knows he's an immortal.
Yep.
How he knows he's an immortal, who knows? Can they feel each other be immortals? They feel the other immortals?
Absolutely.
Okay. Because that's not explained, right? Is that in the supplementary material?
Yeah, I mean, it's just that they can sense another immortal is what it really boils down to.
But he was just like, O'Doyle or whatever his fucking name is. Yeah. He's mine. Nobody fucking fights him, blah, blah, blah. And so on the battlefield, he's like trying to get into fights and everyone's just like, oh, no, not me. Don't touch me. And then they walk
very
away.
Comically.
Yeah,
like,
they're just like, oh,
right.
I can't touch you. Like they looked into the camera and goes, I can't fight him. And then they'd walk away.
Yes.
And then eventually the Kurgan comes down.
Yep.
And then insta kills him.
Yes.
Like it's not
Gets
even
off his
fucking,
sword.
Yeah, just like dead. Now, here's my question.
Yep.
Did the Kurgan not know he had to chop his head off?
Kurgan knows absolutely has to chop his head off.
Why didn't he chop his head off?
Because he stabs him in the chest. Oh. He pulls back. He's ready to decapitate him, and then he gets tackled by 5 dudes. Yeah. And then he's yelling, "Oh, another time, McLeod! Why? Another time!"
Why did he another time?
Because he got 5 dudes that pulled his ass off.
I mean, there was hundreds of dudes.
What do you mean?
I mean, he was in a war.
The McLeods were winning at this point in time, right? His clan was winning, so like they had overwhelming odds, and they were just able to overwhelm the Kurgan, so the Kurgan had to flee.
Did he think to himself, I might get my head chopped off, maybe I'll go?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
He's like, because these guys aren't immune. Anybody could chop their head off and they'd be dead. Mm-hmm. It's just that if the other immortals chop their heads off, then that's when they get the power.
Oh, no, I think anybody can chop their heads off and they get the power. If they die, they get the power.
Well,
I think if they were
I think you're probably right.
If one of the immortals was just like, you know what, I'm going to give up on this life, I'm just going to be in construction, and then he accidentally gets his head chopped off by some machine, all of the other immortals.
Yeah, you're probably right. That's never happened, so I don't know. That probably would never happen. All right, so
then they take him back, and they're just like, he's going to die.
Then we jump back to the future.
Okay. Yeah.
And Connor's like, I got to get the fuck out of here. Jumps in the car, starts taking off. Cops show up. And then they're like, "You're under arrest, motherfucker!" Very 1980s cops, very much on commando.
I always give points to the 80s style motherfucker.
Right.
I always want to throw a couple little
gun
points
to his
for
face.
That. Yeah.
Don't make a move, motherfucker.
Motherfucker. Oh man. Yeah. They had their finger on the pulse of how cool curse words can sound.
Right.
In the 80s.
So
especially motherfucker.
We jump back to Connor in the past. He's dead. And his friends are like...
Dead. He's dying.
No, he's completely dead because he's laying there and they don't hear him breathing or anything like that. They think he's dead. And they're like, it's time to put him out of the pasture, everything else, blah, blah, blah. And then...
I thought he was just dying.
No, because they abandoned him completely. They leave. The next day, he gets back up.
Oh, see, did we watch a different version? Because what I saw was that he was dying.
Okay.
And then, like, the priest came, and he was like, oh, shit, he's going to die.
Yeah.
And then he just got better.
Oh, no. Maybe you saw a different cut or something like that.
Because when they walked in, or when
did you watch
walked
it on Amazon?
What?
On Amazon?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's just straight
up
like this. And they the woman puts her fucking head on his chest and was crying and everything like that. And
I thought it was just because he was dying.
He's dead. He's supposed to be dead at this point. To them, he's dead or whatever, right? So either way, it doesn't matter. He recovers, and because he recovers, people are like, "Dude, you're a fucking devil, bro." And he's very like,
"Yeah, you made a pact with Satan.
Stay the fuck away from me."
Yeah.
Jump back to the future. The cops find the sword that the other guy fought with. Very rare, very unique sword. They're like, this sword. It's insane that this thing, it's worth millions upon millions of dollars. They call it a broadsword, which made me laugh out loud because I don't know how familiar you are with swords, but I don't know how you could possibly look at this and think it's a broadsword rather than a rapier. I mean, you might not know it's a rapier, but it's clearly not a fucking broadsword, but whatever. They're cops, so I don't expect them to know anything. Some more Queen, and then Kurgan shows up. Very Terminator style to the hotel. And they say something, the guy goes, dial 0 if you need anything from me, because he's like, you need some whores, because the Kurgan now at this point has turned from a chaos warrior into a chaos punk. I feel like he was the inspiration for everything Warhammer for chaos. Like in the beginning, he's the chaos warrior. Later on, he's like the chaos cultist when he's there.
Oh yeah, because he came in. This movie was made before Warhammer started doing all this shit, right?
I mean, before it was like really big deal because it was like 86 this came out.
Okay.
So he gets a hotel room and the dude's like, I'll send you up a hooker and dial O if you need it. I fucking hate this.
Why?
Do you ever have a problem with that when people are like dial O whatever? It's not O, it's fucking 0.
Oh, I didn't notice.
I'm old, so I'm a fucking boomer, so that shit pisses me off. He gets his hotel room. It's very Terminator-esque, like his whole like style and whatnot. And then the whore shows up and she's like, I don't remember what she says, but she says something funny and he says something one-liner funny to him. Connor follows a lady that's connected to the police is doing investigation on everything that's going down. So she's hanging out at the last murder site and
but she's forensics. She works for the police.
Yeah, you're right. She is forensics, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't remember if she was just like subcontracted, whatever. But either way, she's like trying to figure out what's going on. She looks at the cut that's in the fucking thing, and she's like, "Oh shit, there's a little piece of metal in
I
there."
didn't get this. Did the sword get damaged?
Yeah, a little bit,
But it didn't.
No.
The swords are all fine.
I know.
Okay.
That's weird.
I just want to make sure that we're both on the same page.
Oh, we are on the same page.
Yeah, I'm surprised we're both on the same page.
We are certainly on the same page.
Yeah.
So
you're gonna come at me with some clownish shit later, and I cannot wait for that conversation.
We'll see about that.
Okay,
buddy. We'll
right.
see about that. We'll see how insanely wrong you are.
Okay.
So, anyways,
wrong. Don't make any assumptions.
Connor and the woman, they jam out and they go to do their thing.
Yeah.
And Kurgan shows up and they start fighting. They start fighting back and forth.
Randomly.
Yes.
They randomly start fighting.
Right. Because he's just like, here I am. And then he just starts fighting him. And right?
Yeah.
Fucking sword fighting all over the place.
Yeah.
Eventually they get caught. The police show up.
No. A police helicopter comes down and goes,
Correct.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
And then he scatters, and then the police helicopter goes, okay, bye.
The police helicopter goes, hey, you right there. Hold it. Wait a second. Come back here.
Yeah. But then the helicopter
limp
goes,
dick
okay,
cops.
I've got better things to do. And just
Takes off. Yeah.
They literally went like this. I'm here. I'm gone.
Yep.
That was it.
That's it, man. That's what cops did in the 80s. Neither one of them are minorities, so they're just like, we're out of here. You guys can figure it out.
The person who wrote the screenplay was like, how do I get them to stop fighting? How do I get them to stop fighting? Oh, I'll have a police helicopter come in.
Yep.
And then he's just like, but what do you do?
Do they shoot at him?
Maybe he just leaves. And that was it.
Yep. Should he shoot at him? Nah, they don't need to. They don't need to shoot at him or anything like that. They just take off. All right. So, anyways, we get back into the past, and Connor, that motherfucker got to get going, man, because that town ain't like they ain't having none of that shit. They're like, you're a fucking devil. Get the fuck out of here. He's getting beat. He's getting all this shit happen to him.
You're a devil.
Yep.
And we don't want any part of it.
We don't want any. So he gets out of that motherfucker. Well, he's trying to get out. They won't let him. And then the old bear Georg Mormont helps him out, gets him the fuck out of there. And shit.
That was like, if there was one character I wish they would have given me a little bit more of.
Georg.
Yeah,
Georg was good. He's good in everything.
Young Georg Mormont.
Yeah, young Georg Mormont helps him out of town. So, and then we go back into the. Okay, so this is one of the things I'm going to fucking complain about. Okay, there's very few complaints I have about this movie. Certainly one of them.
Okay.
It just jumps back and forth too often. I feel like in modern times, you would have like a 20-minute scene in the past that deals with the shit of the past, and then you would jump back. But this is like 2-minute scene, 2-minute scene, 2-minute scene, 2-minute scene. Very sporadic back and forth, which was, to be honest, a little bit frustrating to me. So, go back into the future again. He's an antiques dealer, man. That's his cover, dude. What an amazing cover, man. If you were a timeless fucking person, this is the cover you want right here, man.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, sure.
Because, I mean, like, you have all this shit throughout history. You can easily explain it. You can easily explain how you know all this shit. I'm an antiques dealer. I've been an antiques dealer for 1,000 years.
I was about to say, for 1,000 years.
Right. Hey, here, okay, so I want to bring up something because I'm gonna go on a little bit of a tangent here. You guys,
boy.
new long-time listeners, this might be new to you. We're gonna tangent for a second. I thought about something when it came to long-lasting life like this, right?
Okay.
Do you remember much from when you were like 10 or younger?
No.
I was thinking to myself,
I remember
like highlights, right? Like one-off things.
I mean, but I remember highlights of yesterday. You know, like I feel like all of my memory is just highlights.
So I think to myself, like, I remember some of the shit from when I was like 10 or younger. I remember a decent amount of shit from when I was 20 or younger. And I remember a reasonable amount of shit from when I was like 30 or younger. I can remember certain things and whatnot. But as I get older, I forget more and more from the further off things, like from when I was 10, from when I was 20, et cetera, et cetera.
No way.
Yes, absolutely. So
I feel like I remember as much about my 20s as I remember about my teens.
Oh, not me, man. I feel like I know more. I can remember.
The only time my memory starts to get like genuinely hazy is like maybe before I was 10.
Yes, but here's where I'm going with this.
But like in the last 20 years, I remember.
Right. Here's where I'm going with this. Yeah. So, in theory, when you're in your 40s...
No, but that's because of how your brain is developing. Your brain doesn't actually start developing.
I don't think so.
Your brain doesn't actually stop developing until you're 25.
I don't think so, though. And you can tell with, like, older people. They start to forget more and more things from their long-distance past.
I feel like
my dad, for sure.
Like... older people start to is a really blanket statement.
It happens all the time. I mean, it's scientific, bro.
Okay, you saying it's a blanket statement is still just a very. I mean,
doesn't matter to me.
It happens all the time.
You start to forget things as you age.
I don't feel like you do.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you think you do or not. As you age, scientifically, you start to forget more things.
What's scientific?
But what my
you
thoughts
saying
were,
scientifically
if you
doesn't
were like
make it scientific.
Something, and you barely remember shit from like your 20s and obviously your 30s and stuff like that. If then when you became...
I get what you're going with this, but this is not...
No. You don't get where I'm going with this. So let's say they are able to stop aging, right?
Senescence.
Sure. So you become 200.
Okay.
All right. And you forget everything. Not everything, but all but some rare things from 100 and younger. Are you still even that same person that you were?
You don't even have to go that far. That's the ship of Theseus. That's the fucking... That's literally what like the end of WandaVision was when the Visions were fighting the Visions.
Yeah. Kind of.
Yeah, that's
but that's a little bit different.
Just like, are you the same person? If you switch out all the parts and there's nothing left of you, then
but that's not what I'm saying. You are the same person, but you just don't have the memories that created the person that you once were when you were 100, when you're 500.
Yeah,
right. Like it's even more as you get further. I don't know why I was thinking about this with like in framing of like the Highlanders and vampires.
Even just you're not the same person that you were 7 years ago. 7 years ago, every cell in your body was a different cell.
So jumping back into history.
Okay,
your boy Connor chilling with his old lady, doing his thing.
That's right.
He
gets a new old lady.
Yep,
and they're happy together.
He's like, I'm gonna live my life.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be with the McLeods. I'm going to do my own thing.
Yeah.
And then we get a handsome rider riding on up. Very flamboyant Sean Connery.
Yeah, they're like, they're kind of in the field, kind of getting a little frisky.
Yep.
Enjoying their time together, and then randomly,
yeah,
a guy rides up, and it's Sean fucking Connery.
Sean Connery, bro. Did you expect Sean Connery in this film?
I feel like in the deepest part of my heart, I knew he was in this.
Okay,
but I definitely didn't expect him.
I always forget that he's in this movie.
Yeah.
So, but
he shouldn't have been in this movie.
So he shows up and he's like, "Hey, I'm the Spaniard.
He's the Spaniard.
I'm the Spaniard.
Yeah.
Sean Connery.
Yeah. But he's the Spaniard not because he's actually Spanish.
He's not actually Spanish. He's here from Spain.
He's most recently from Spain, the Spanish court.
He's actually, it's even better.
Yeah, he's actually
Egyptian.
Yeah. I was just like, of course you're Egyptian. You
Egyptian.
Why wouldn't you be Egyptian?
With a samurai sword.
Yeah.
So then he's the one that's going to start breaking shit down for Connor. And he's like, here's what's going on. Here's why you didn't die. I'm going to tell you everything that's going down.
Yep.
And we get a whole bunch of scenes of him just like dealing with everything and like teaching him and being
how to fight and all that.
Exactly. Yeah. He's like, look, you got to get ready because
he shows him that he can breathe underwater.
Yes. Doesn't he throw him overboard?
Push him off the boat.
Yeah, exactly. And that's when he's like, see, you're fucking invincible, basically. And things just are, going pretty well for them. They're doing their things and shit. So then that's when Sean Connery's like, look, man, I appreciate what you're doing.
I don't get the comfortable familiarity that any of the immortals have with each other.
Why?
Because they all have to kill each other at some point.
I don't
get why any of them would be.
But technically, you don't have to kill any of them until the quickening time period.
Why do you have to kill them even during the quickening?
He speaks about it because that's like the crux of when all the shit's gonna break loose.
Yeah, but like if you don't do it, say like let's say they between the black guy later, the Highlander and Sean Connery, they ambushed Kurgan, right? And they chopped off his head.
Yeah.
And then they're just like, well, we're all homies.
Yeah.
Let's just be homies.
Yeah.
And then the quickening happened.
Yep.
And they're just like, let's just not do it. What would happen?
Who knows?
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever seen a Highlander movie other than this movie. So
okay. All right.
maybe they deal with that in another movie.
Maybe at some point they explain some of that stuff.
Yeah. I like when they don't, because otherwise you get midichlorians. So, it is a little weird. I'll give you credit. It is a little weird that the only two immortals you've dealt with is Connor and Kurgan, and they're very much trying to kill each other and shit like that. And then you get Sean shows up, and he's like the nice guy one that's like, all right, because he could easily just go, I'm going to kill him right here, and then but he doesn't.
And now everybody's stronger,
right? So
because from my point of view, there is no reason why he would want to keep him alive.
This is that world building, bro. Yeah. There's different types of Highlanders, bro.
Okay.
Immortals. But there's different types.
Different types of immortals.
Right.
Sure.
Not everybody is.
And I'm not saying they would all have the same goal.
Yeah.
But it's stated pretty explicitly that they all. No, hold on. It's stated pretty explicitly that they all have the same goal.
Yeah.
There can only be one.
In the long run, yeah.
In the long run, yeah, for sure. So why would you ever befriend them and try to get them stronger?
I think
they can only fucking be one.
Like Squid Game, bro. Only one of us can win the Squid Game. But we should work together now. Because later on, we can betray each other. But if we work together now, we can defeat these other powers.
Okay.
I think what it boils down to is Ramirez can't beat the Kurgan.
Okay.
And he's like, I'll train you, and then together we'll defeat the Kurgan.
Okay.
And that's pretty much the main thing of what it is there. So,
because he's like, maybe with a buddy I can beat the Kurgan.
Right.
But then I'll be able to beat my buddy, no problem.
Yeah. Okay. Sean Connery in this movie right here is 55 years old, man.
Wow. That's crazy. 55 in the 80s, huh?
Yeah.
Is Sean Connery still alive?
No, he died last year.
Oh, okay.
To me, age has changed.
Okay.
He looks like he is 80 years old in this movie. Like, he looks so much older to me.
I guess.
But,
yeah.
Ramirez.
I feel like I've seen pictures of people in the 1940s, and 20-year-olds look like what you look like now.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
Times are different, bro.
Yeah.
More moisturizer. So, Ramirez is like, here's the deal, bro. I know you got this thing going on with this old lady right here. You got to ditch her. Mm-hmm. You can't stay with an old lady because she's going to grow old.
Yeah, 'cause she's going to die.
She's going to die, and you're going to be heartbroken about it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, you don't know shit. And of course, Ramirez is like, I literally did it. Right? Like of course, I'm telling you this from experience.
I've lived 2,000 years.
Yeah.
Where do you think this Japanese sword came from?
Yeah, yeah. Well, not exactly, but
that is what
I think. I think the
that's literally what it was. He fell in love with a Japanese princess.
Oh, is that what? I thought he brought the Japanese sword to them.
No,
I thought that's the.
He fell in love with a Japanese princess, and
he was gifted the sword.
And he was gifted the sword by the king, who was like a metallurgist specialist or some shit like that.
I dig it, bro.
Were you even watching this movie?
No.
I wish I paid attention less during this movie.
So,
because paying attention to this movie is a double-edged sword.
Nice. So, Clancy Brown shows up, Kurgan shows up, and he's like, I'm here for you, Ramirez.
Okay, and where was O'Doyle during this?
Connor McLeod? Yeah. He was out fishing or some shit. He was doing some shit.
He was just not around.
He was just not around.
Okay.
So they start fighting, and we get some awesome fight scenes where they're taking down the fucking whole house in this bitch, right?
You know what I would have liked?
Yeah.
Before the Kurgan showed up.
Yep.
O'Doyle's like, hey, I'm gonna we're running out of food. I'm gonna go catch some stuff. Watch over my girl while she's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's just like, okay, be back in 3 days or whatever. And then dope.
I mean, that's what happens.
Yeah, but
you just have to...
who knows? Because what you see is
Him just leaving.
No, he doesn't even leave. What you see is the Kurgan just shows up.
Yeah.
And O'Doyle's not there. And I'm like, what the fuck? Where is he?
True.
Why did he leave?
That's probably true. So, I mean, he's got to go get food for them. So, Clancy Brown, as he's fighting, they're like going back and forth.
Sure.
Clancy Brown has a wig on. It is arguably the worst wig I've ever seen in a movie. It looks like he just has a mop that's dyed black put on his head, dude. It is so atrocious. It made me laugh out loud when it's like swinging in his face and shit.
Yeah,
I was just like, what the fuck is that supposed to be, bro?
Yeah.
But,
in the future, he's got...
short hair.
He's got short hair.
Yeah.
But it's still black?
It's still black.
Sure, okay.
Because he's fucking Russian, bro.
Yeah,
Russians have black hair. Yeah. So, Ramirez is whooping the Kurgan's ass. And he goes from whooping the Kurgan's ass to taking one blow across his chest, and he's fucking done.
And he's done, yeah, for sure.
This is after the Kurgan's had his throat chopped, all this other fucking shit.
Literally had his throat sliced open. Right there, I was just like, wait, does the Keurig die here?
No.
And then, no.
Because it didn't get it all the way through.
Yeah, for sure.
So, fucking ridiculous. And he gets an asinine slice across the chest.
Yeah.
And that's the end of him.
Yep.
And
he's on his knees.
Yep.
Now, here is also what I was thinking during the scene. How right? It's one or the other. How strong are their sword slices that they're destroying this fucking stone home? Or how weak is this stone home? Because, like,
it's obviously...
It looks like a strong wind would take down this home.
Right, but it's obviously the former.
But like in the future, it's not.
Yeah, it is. Because, like, remember that scene where...
when he cut into the pillar?
Yeah, dude.
He cut into the pillar. He didn't destroy the entire fucking parking garage.
Right, but I think, like... I don't care.
My morsels are when you say, I don't care.
I don't.
Those are my favorite parts because those are like the validation that when it comes to things you like, you are perfectly able to just like your eyes gloss over. You're like, I don't care.
This is like the Eternals.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I love how you get so like, no, things have to make sense unless it's a thing you like, and then it doesn't have to make a fucking modicum of sense.
So the woman doing some research on him does a little bit more.
Yeah.
Duncan shows up to Brenda's house. That's the woman. And the samurai sword. They talk about the samurai sword that he had. And it's an ancient fucking samurai sword. It's actually older than any samurai sword that they know of right now.
No, it's older than the technique. So the folded steel technique.
You're right. It's older than the folded steel technique. Yeah. So, and then we get to see.
She's like this folded steel sword is older than the technique it was made to, or it was used to make.
Sure.
And so it's like finding. She said it's like finding like a car in like the 1800s or something like that. It's like it's a technology outside of its time.
Right.
It's very, very special. I need to know how it happened.
So that whole thing happens, and we see more of Duncan's past and what he's lost, more of his struggle from losing his woman. We go back into the past at this scene.
Okay,
and then we kind of jump to a little bit further up where he's in England. And he's fighting a duel in England, and he keeps getting killed by the guy, and the guy keeps stabbing him.
Yeah, that's right.
And
because he's like drunk or something.
Yeah, it's very like humorously played or whatnot, and then eventually like he just like is done with that, and the guy gets bored and takes off. So
yeah, I was happy that he didn't kill him.
Yeah,
that would have been weird.
Yeah, it'd have been weird. So,
but at some point he's just like, okay, I think I'm done getting stabbed, and he gets up and leaves.
Right. So then we jump back over to the Kurgan.
Yeah.
And in between this, I didn't even need to bring it up because the guy barely matters. But Connor has a black friend that's also an immortal.
Dude, talk about barely matters, dude. So like there's like this randomly weird.
They just need another guy to kill.
Yes. So there's randomly this weird dressed dude on the bridge, and he's just like, "Oh Doyle, you old son of a bitch," and they like hug or whatever.
They do the Predator.
Yeah. And I'm just like, oh, this is another. He was like, the last time I saw you were, like that was the whatever when you were down that duel. Like 100 years ago or whatever, and I was just like, okay, so this is another immortal. And then you get he's just like, let's go out for a drink. You don't see them go out for a drink.
Nope.
He just goes like, okay, cool, Good seeing you.
Yep.
The very next scene, him and the Keurig are fighting in some fucking alley.
The Kurgan. So basically the next time you see the Kurgan back in this hotel, he's got scars across the neck and shit like that. You get to see that. And he goes to fight Duncan's black friend.
Yeah, randomly.
I don't know his name.
And then immediately dies. Like, I was like, what a fucking nothing character.
Yep.
I got, literally, he was probably, I guarantee you, he was on screen less than 2 minutes.
I'm pretty sure he was just
It was 75 seconds of screen time.
He was probably like one of the carpenters on set or something like that. And they were like, we can't pay you, but do you want to be in this Highlander movie? And he's like, yeah, fuck it, I'll be in this
We
movie.
just need a person to kill quick.
Right, exactly. And he was like, yeah, no, I'm down. So,
dude,
he gets killed.
The fucking, like, Marine guy that shows up.
Yeah.
Oh my
That's
God.
the same scene.
Yeah.
How great is it? A vigilante shows up and he's like, you motherfucker! And he just starts unloading in the Kurgan, shoots the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Goes to see the Kurgan's body dead over there, gets stabbed. And I
Stabbed
enjoyed
right through, lifts him the fuck up.
That's the Kurgan, baby.
And I was just like, okay, so he's dead.
I found a little irony cute with that he stabs him through his "fuck Moscow" shirt because he's a Russian, you know.
Because he's a Russian.
So, I like that little cuteness.
That's funny. Yeah.
So, the vigilante gets stabbed, and then the Kurgan. Now this movie is gonna go from like a movie that you're like, oh, okay, this is about sword fighting, and it's had a couple silly scenes with like the fucking flips and stuff like that, but overall mostly like grounded for the most part. The Kurgan runs out of the alley. The cops are like on him. He stops a car, chops off the top of the car with his fucking sword, throws the old dude out, and then like the woman is like, or whatever, and he like says
the old
something
lady
like,
tries to climb out of the car.
Says a one-liner.
Yeah.
They take off, and then the lady like goes flying onto the front of the car, then just goes flying off the car.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
What a fucking awesome scene, dude. Just like some Queen music, of course, you know. So, cops go to speak with the vigilante, and they're like, hey, you know, I heard you got stabbed or whatever. And the guy's like, yeah, he's this big fucking dude with a sword or whatever stabbed me. And they're like, it's this guy, right? And they show him a picture of Connor. He's like, no, it wasn't him or whatever. He looked like blah, blah, blah.
He goes, no, I've never seen this guy.
Yeah, exactly. So
and he's just like, are you sure it wasn't this guy? And he's just like, dude, he literally, I mean, I was like face to face with him. He stabbed me in the fucking chest. Like,
and the cops were like,
not this guy.
Fuck.
Yeah.
They're like,
that old man was just like,
because they thought they had him.
And they thought, yeah.
They didn't.
They were there. They were at the end.
Yep. So
they already had the warrant for the arrest and everything.
We find out that...
Did we skip the part where he met the little girl?
Oh, yeah. That's the World War II scene.
Mm-hmm. A very inconsequential scene. This character's very inconsequential, too.
Yep.
It's just like, at some point, they're just like, how does the old lady know that he's been alive forever? And then they jump back to World War II. He saves her from a Nazi, from a literal Nazi.
Yep.
And then...
she becomes his secretary.
And then she becomes her secretary because she knows her secret. And she's like in love with him, but like she knows that they can never have anything.
Right.
And then
Duncan has changed his... He has followed Ramirez's
advice.
Kind of,
because then he immediately fucks this other girl.
Yes, he's followed Ramirez's advice since like the Middle Ages.
Although good, because that would have been some fucking gross shit. Like if he was just like, yeah, I knew you were as a little baby and then we hooked up later on in your life, I'd have been like, that is some groomy, fucking creepy ass shit.
It's some weird shit.
But he didn't. And so good on the director for not going that route.
Right. And we discover that Connor's cover story ain't so great because the woman finds out that the person he's
finds out.
Well, yes, that's right.
Yeah, and so like people know now, you know. I feel like that was not a great cover story because it's like, no, this guy's just been using dead people to just like further his own like name over and over again. So she confronts him.
Yes.
She's just like, you've been alive for 1,000,000 years. Don't fucking lie. And he's just like, yeah.
He's been, well, here's the important part.
I've been around for 5 centuries.
He's been like 5 different people.
Yeah.
And each person, the name died within like the first few years of their life.
Yeah, for sure. He just takes like dead kids' names.
Yeah. I mean,
lives their lives.
Pretty genius.
I mean, okay.
Until you get caught.
Yeah, for sure.
Gets caught.
And then they start making out.
She shows up. And she's like, look here, you son of a bitch. I know what you've been doing. We're going to break it down. And you're going to fuck me.
And then they show what I think probably to date in all the movies that I've watched. Now, admittedly, I haven't watched a lot of 80s movies. And a couple of the ones that we've watched here have had some pretty egregious sex scenes. But this might be the most egregious sex scene I've ever watched in any movie. that came out of the 80s.
You didn't like this sex scene, man?
I thought it was really in poor taste.
Yeah, that'd be good enough. So then the next scene, they finish up sex and they go. Duncan goes to the church and he's gonna do his thing at the church. Who shows up? The Keurig. And now Keurig got a haircut, bro. He's got that fucking shaved head sort of look to him.
He looks like
man.
Billy Idol.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Fucking no wonder he looks so badass. Dude. Fucking Billy Idol, bro. So he Keurig starts talking shit to him, and he's like, yeah, blah,
He's like,
blah. I killed Ramirez, then I raped his wife or whatever.
His woman.
And then he looks at him, he's like, oh shit, Ramirez lied. That was your woman. She never told you.
I'm just like, okay, that's a lot of, you're taking some leaps in logic, but okay, fine.
And then he's like, maybe she was happy with what she was getting or some shit like that. Some other like sex comments and stuff like that.
And then he's like, okay, well, I mean, I guess we'll finish this later. And then he just walks out.
Well, no. Connor was about to lose his shit. And Kurgan's like, remember, Highlander, we're on sacred ground. And so he can't fight there.
Oh, okay.
Because remember, they bring that up earlier. The only place they're safe is on sacred ground.
Sure.
And he's like,
And then
the Highlander punks his ass, and he's like, you can't hide in here forever, Kurgan.
Yeah. So I wish that, when we talk about like world building, I wish that there had been more attention put on the world building.
To me?
Because there's not it's not called world existing. It's called world building. You have to build out the world that you're making. It's like one of the reasons that J.R.R. Tolkien is lauded and regarded as one of the best world builders of all time is because any question you ask him, he's got an answer for you. And not just that, the answers are found in the stuff that he wrote. So, like, in all of the material that exists for this world, there is an answer for everything. There is a why the language sounds like it sounds, why different elf communities have different dialects.
I don't see where you're going with this.
There's no answers.
For what?
There's no answers to, like, why they have to kill each other during
because there can only be one.
Why can there only be one?
Because
who said it? Who said that? What like the
immortals,
the sacred ground?
Yeah.
Who established those rules? Why are those rules that people follow? Why does the Keurig follow rules like that? Like
the Kurgan?
Yeah. Like what? Like what?
He's still an immortal. He's got to follow the rules of the mortals.
Why?
What do you mean? Why?
Why does the immortal? Like who said?
So
that's what I'm saying. There's no answers to a lot of these questions.
They were like, you'll be punished.
Like because.
Look it. This right here is the type of world building I'm trying to get. I don't need somebody.
That's because you have a problem with depth. We've explained that.
To hold my hand and go, listen, you can't fight somebody on holy ground because if you do fight somebody on holy ground,
this isn't holding hands. This is just an answer to a question.
The spirits of Tomorrowland will come down, sweep you up, and take you off, and you will be destroyed.
There has to be a consequence for an action.
No, the rules are you cannot fight on hollow ground.
Who made those rules? Why are those rules?
The Committee of Immortals. Who the fuck cares?
Christ.
What a ridiculous argument.
What's ridiculous is that somebody like the Keurig would be like, I'm not gonna fight on sacred ground because I follow rules.
He's not able to. He can't do it, man.
Okay.
And then the priest comes up to him and he's like, hey, man. Or he's like, yeah, stop. You're being out of control or whatever. He says some shit to him and he's like, I'm in disguise, man, or whatever. And he kind of like fucking has some lines and shit like that and talks a bunch of shit. Then he leaves.
He's like,
yeah, he's a fucking, fuck, man. I love me some Clancy Brown. So the woman who Connor is about to have, has been having sex with.
Yeah. I think they only fuck once.
Yeah, that's who he's having sex with. So she shows up and she gets kidnapped by the Keurig. And the Keurig gets her, throws her in the car, and they start fucking taking off. And he starts playing chicken.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And then they have this like...
So awesome.
The longest, most unneeded car chase, I think.
It's so good.
Car chases are... They're like enjoyable in and of themselves usually.
Yeah.
But this felt like a car chase I never needed.
Yeah. I disagree.
Talk about
such
padding,
an awesome scene.
No, talk about padding the runtime.
No, it's fun.
Okay.
You're wrong. This scene is so fun, and sometimes you need to have a little bit of fun in movies.
Yeah, this was so fun.
Otherwise, they just get boring. You don't want all depth. Like if you took this scene,
Any
out,
depth.
There's a ton of depth in this film already.
Oh, tons.
So, yes.
Tons of depth.
I mean, the samurai sword, the fucking all this shit. The fact that the Kurgan sword comes apart and he's able to fucking all that shit is so awesome.
So we skipped over that. What a stupid sword! The sword that comes apart. What? How does the top part stay in? Even I saw the second part.
It locks into
I saw when he
locked
the tang in, but the second part of the sword. How does it stay in?
The guard?
The
cross guard?
No, the top. The sword to the sword. He puts the bottom part of the sword into the cross guard.
Into the cross guard.
Yeah. That's where the tang is.
And then the tang. Well, no. The tang is part of the blade. The cross guard goes into the cross guard, and then the tang goes into the handle. Don't you know how swords are made?
That's not how this sword was made.
Yes, it absolutely is.
It was top part of the blade into bottom part of the blade. No. Bottom part of the blade with the tang into the cross guard.
There are two parts of the blade. Yeah. That is true.
The top part of the blade to the bottom part of the blade.
Yeah.
How does that stay in? Magic?
Highlander magic, bro. Don't try to start some shit about
some
amazing sword.
Why don't you just have a longer case instead of a dumb 3-part sword?
You can't fucking carry around a sword case and look normal. So at this point, the Highlander shows up to fucking confront Kurgan over his bullshit, and he's like, "All right, let's fucking do this." And they get into their fight, man.
He's just like, "It's just the two of us now."
Yep. And they meet and they start fighting across all the different areas on this place called the Silver Cup, dude. Behind the scenes on this scene. Okay.
Don't you want to wait?
No, on this part specifically.
Okay.
So they're fighting all over this building, right? They're like smashing into things, breaking things down.
Yeah.
They literally were like destroying this set as they were fighting, like out of control fighting and shit.
Yeah.
Because, like behind the scenes, this isn't like Conan where they spent countless hours teaching these guys how to sword fight and shit like that. These guys were mostly like just kind of going with it and whatnot.
That's of zero surprise to me.
So, and they're like running into things and smashing things, and they kept destroying the set. So basically, almost this entire fight was taken in one take because they basically just couldn't put the set back together. They're fucking it up so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh shit! So they fight all over the place. Eventually, they hit like a water pipe or some shit. There's just water everywhere.
Yeah, for sure. They smash through the window. They fall in. This made me laugh. So 2 parts here made me laugh. One, they fall all the way down, and like I get it, they're not hurt because they're both immortals,
right?
But no water falls in, even though it was just flooded up top,
right?
Okay,
right.
Let's get past that.
Sure.
Then the girl's down there.
Then the girl, because you see the part earlier
where the fuck did she come from?
What happens
fall
is,
down?
Yeah, so what happens?
She fell down. She broke her fucking legs.
No.
They fell like 4 stories.
She climbs down because basically you see there's a scene where Duncan or Connor cuts the fucking thing she's connected to. That comes down, so she's able to untie herself, and then comes down.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then he's like fighting him, almost loses. She jumps in, and then he's like, "Ha, what kept you?" I laughed out loud at that. All right, so then he eventually, of course, he wins.
Yeah.
Defeats the Kurgan.
Yeah.
There can only be one.
Yeah. And then all sorts of shit starts flying around.
Yeah, lightning and all that
There's like demons and they're like...
Behind the scenes on this, Amazon informed me that during this final gift, they used wires to bring him up.
When I was watching this, the wires were so present, right? Like they were so not hidden.
Yep.
That I couldn't help but to burst out laughing.
Yeah.
Because it's not like, oh, I caught a wire. No, it was, this guy's on wires. Here are the wires. We didn't attempt to hide them in any way.
Yeah.
We're just, what did you want us to do? We needed him to fly, and this is the 1980s. He's on wires.
Yeah.
That to me, one of the funniest parts in this movie.
Yeah.
Is just how like nothing was done to hide the fact that he was on wires.
Pretty great, man.
Pretty great.
Yeah. And he becomes the immortal. He becomes the one.
He loses immortality.
Right.
Yeah. Now it's just like, well, now he knows what everybody's thinking.
Yep.
But he's gonna die.
Yeah.
Now he can have kids again.
Yeah.
But he's gonna die.
Yep.
he's gonna know what everyone's thinking until he dies. So there's that.
Yeah. You don't find that to be a gift?
That's a big gift.
It's a pretty good gift.
I don't know about better than just being an immortal who can't die.
Yeah, I mean,
That's why I feel like the Keurig would have been like, what the fuck?
Well, I mean, here's the thing, right? Like,
I can literally withstand bullets. I can fucking do whatever I want.
Yeah, but like...
And it's like, yeah, but now you know what people are thinking.
Right.
Now,
think about it, though.
You're gonna die, but like...
Do you want to live forever? Once, like, all the people
I
you
think
give
if
a
I was
shit
like
about.
a power-hungry, like, warlord guy like the Keurig, then yeah. I feel like Connor O'Doyle would have been like, okay, well, I get to like have kids and live out the rest of my life, and maybe I can like be somebody.
Yeah.
But I feel like the Keurig would have been like, nah, this is not what I wanted.
True. Yeah, I don't know, man.
But because nobody actually explained anything to him, he would have just been like, yeah, okay, I guess nobody knew.
Yeah.
I've been fighting for 3,000 years for what? Okay.
Yeah. So this fight scene at the end here, it was supposed to originally be done on the Statue of Liberty.
Oh, that would have been stupid.
They didn't have the money for that.
Of course.
So then they decided, let's do it in an amusement park. They didn't have the money for that. So up on this building, it's the last thing, okay?
Yeah.
So
they're like, what if we just did it there?
Right.
And they're like, yeah.
Also, the beginning of the movie, that wrestling scene that made no sense whatsoever, they wanted to use an NHL game. They were actually going to do a hockey game. The NHL was like, no thank you whatsoever. Because, like, the whole point of that scene is they're, like, focusing on the violence. And everybody's, like, cheering on the violence and shit like that. And the NHL was like, dude, we ain't about that life. We're a fucking sport, not a fucking violent fight. So, whatever.
Yeah.
Some other behind the scenes in this shit.
Sure.
The budget on this movie.
Okay.
$19 million.
Okay.
Check out the take home on this motherfucker, bro. $13 million.
Love that. That is well what it deserves. I fucking love it.
Pretty ridiculous, eh?
Yeah, that's good stuff.
So here's the funny part about that, okay? So now you heard that, right?
Yeah.
First of all,
it became a cult classic.
This movie was a 70% on Rotten Tomatoes, a C+ on Metacritic, okay, which is a little weird, but
damn.
This spawned into...
This is from people who like this era of movies. Even they reviewed it that poorly.
3 movies were made after this movie.
Wow.
Highlander 2,
How did it
3,
lose that
4.
much money and then it still got sequels?
Not only did this make 3 other movies, a 9-season television show, bro.
That's crazy. From what? They were just like, no, people like it. And they're like, no, people are not liking it. They're like, no, people like it.
So let me ask you a question. If there could only be one, would this be your one? Would you recommend this movie to a person?
Absolutely not. This movie sucked so bad. This is one of the worst movies. I almost hated this more than I fucking hated Blazing Saddles. This was so fucking terrible. This is one of the worst movies we've seen. Maybe the worst. I feel like with Blazing Saddles, I can make an argument for this being the worst movie that we've reviewed. The whole thing was bad. I feel like the acting was pretty shit. The production value was shit. The screenplay was shit. Fucking the story was shit. It was all shit. There was nothing good. The choreography. There was nothing good about this movie. There was nothing. There wasn't even cool concepts. There was nothing. And so, yeah, for those reasons, this movie sucked. I'm so surprised too, because when you said last week or 2 weeks ago when we reviewed The Witch, you were like, we're reviewing Highlander next. I was just like, oh, cool. I finally get to watch Highlander, because I had always heard so much about this movie, not it being good, like in retrospect, me thinking about it. It's never anything that people said this is a good movie, but it's been such a cultural thing, you know? Like, it's like a movie that exists in the ether. I've heard the Highlander be referred to a million times. There can only be one. Of course. You know, like, there was just so much presence, and so I was just like, oh, cool, I get to fucking watch this movie finally. I did not expect how much of a shit show this movie was going to be. This movie was just like it's like somebody pulled a rug from under me. Like I was so blown away by how little this met any kind of expectation. This was like I said, easily in the running for the worst movie we've ever watched. What do you think? Did this movie hold up?
So, would I recommend this movie? Or did this movie hold up? I got to tell you, man. This movie was better than I remember it in every way. I am going into this movie going, this movie is fucking garbage. And this movie was barely not garbage. This movie is fucking terrible, dude. It is terrible, but it's great. Like here's the thing, okay? I looked at this movie and I was like, the concepts, the things, the world building, everything about this movie is so fucking cool. Just like Eternals, the execution is terrible.
Okay.
Everything behind the thoughts
you did
of this
like you did like the ideas of this movie.
Exactly. And the Kurgan character.
I think given proper world building,
yes.
This movie's fine. It's working with fine stuff. I would even say the same thing about Conan.
Sure.
Conan the Barbarian, given proper world building, like you give a legitimate author the concepts.
Sure.
And they could do something cool with it.
Sure.
But you're right. They did nothing with this.
It's just none of the, like, okay, to me, like, here's the problem that I have, because I know so much about the Highlander and stuff like that. I know like extra shit, but like
from the supplementary material.
But like the idea of like these immortals and they're fighting throughout time and they only use swords and they're trying to cut off each other's heads and like all and become the most powerful one out of all that is super fucking cool to me. And like, here's the thing I thought about, like, if you could remake this movie, I think this movie is more in need of a remake than any movie from the 80s, in my opinion. Okay. Because I think with like today's money, and you get like some star, I don't know,
writers.
I don't know who the hero would be.
I heard Henry Cavill was in the running.
So you get like Henry Cavill, and you have like Jason Momoa as like the Kurgan or whatever in this film, or whoever the fuck you're gonna have as the big fucking brutish bad guy or whatever. Yeah. And then you have like other fights throughout time, and then maybe we see one with Hideman. Oh fuck, I forgot the guy's goddamn name. The Japanese guy that was in Last Samurai, and he was also in like Westworld and all that shit. Yeah. Like you have a fight with him like in Japan or something shit like that.
You give me like 3 movies and like really, establish,
you just
really
spread
build
shit
it
out. You have a guy fighting in Africa. You don't have it like all set in this like 2 spots, because it's basically like Los Angeles.
You don't even have to give me a back and forth. Give me one set in the ancient times, one set in the middle times, and one set in the now.
I think you have to do, I don't know if I like that idea. I think you have to do something that's like interspersed. And I think you could easily do something where you just show a little bit of like Japanese time, a little bit of this, and then those are what the other movies are eventually. Okay. Right. But like I want the movie in nowadays time, and there is a remake coming. Yeah. And Henry Cavill has been chosen as to play Connor McLeod. Yeah, so that really does excite me quite a bit. Sure. I think that's going to be,
because they're going to be playing with the concepts, but with talented fucking people.
Absolutely, man.
This movie had a feeling like they went to a high school.
Sure.
And the video teacher at the high school, they were like, we're going to give you $19 million to make a movie. And he was just like, are you sure? Because I feel like technically I know how to make a movie, but like I don't know how to really make one. And they're like, no, we trust you implicitly. Yeah. And then they made this. Yeah. And it was like amateur hour.
And it's kind of egregious for a movie from 1986. Like, this feels like a movie. Like, if this same movie, like, just as what we see, was made in, like, 1978, I think this movie would have been fucking perfectly fine. Because, but the fact that it's 86, like, there was, like, Alien is 86. Yeah,
a studio gave $19 million to this company.
Predator.
Yeah.
I mean, it was 87.
Post-Terminator.
Right. Terminator was 84. Like, it's just crazy to me that this movie was just like...
it's not even crazy to me that this movie was bad. Yeah. It's crazy to me that this movie is known. That's what's crazy to me. That this movie is pop culture.
Dude.
That this movie, like, has presence in the...
There's a Facebook group, and I think it's like 9,000 people in a Highlander Facebook group. So there's like...
presence.
Yeah.
I would have thought that this movie, like, people watched it and they were just like, oh, this was bad. And they walked out of the theater and that was it. $13 million kind of tells that story.
It's like, so, funny story, Gen Con. You've now been to Gen Con. Mm-hmm. Highlander is so popular. Not only was it do all this shit, they created a card game out of it, too, okay? Mm-hmm. There was a guy who came to Gen Con multiple years in a row, trying to sell this Highlander card game, like over the last few years, not like back in the 90s, but like a couple years ago, trying to revive this game. We walked by him. It was so sad. Like this guy was just sitting there,
Defeated.
like not a single person asked, "Hey man, can you teach me your game or anything like that?"
No.
It was like, man, what a fucking depressing.
Yeah.
Why?
It's fair though. That's
sad.
fair.
I mean, it doesn't deserve it. But the concepts are so cool because the card game is so cool because you're an immortal and you fight another immortal, and the cards you play and stuff like that are like attack and defense and stuff like that, and you try to kill the other immortal, obviously. But man, I'm just disappointed.
Sure.
Because this should be something that's super cool. And I'll tell you what, man. I still love swordplay. You know I love me some swordplay. And as I brought up, I love me some Clancy Brown. Here's what I'm going to suggest to y'all next week. This week was the 17th anniversary of one of my favorite video games of all time. It has some swordplay to it. Has some Clancy Brown to it. So what I would suggest to you is fire up your computers, get your WoW subscription going, and join us as we cover Warcraft.
Okay. Fuck. Genuinely excited.
I've got something to say. It's better to burn out than to fade away.